Twitch stream?
It has become.
In Twitch, in your stream on Twitch. Okay.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
So yeah, I thought it was going to basket because of the angle that it's being seen at, but it's just going to sea. So that's something we can do in the games.
Yeah, we can be mindful when the Drizzler jumps and there's like E-charger ready.
Yeah, you just need to. Yeah, it's mainly a G charger thing because like the other weapons wouldn't be able to damage it enough. But G charger could just do it on its own, which is nice.
Okay, so let's talk about normal tide first. Because that's gonna be the wave we see the most.
Yeah. Normal tide, automatic throw.
Pretty much. At least, I think the OG members of Goldfish already experienced enough normal tide from the last Golden Polaris.
Yeah, it was an all-nighter with only normal tide.
So I think it's just the normal come back at basket sooner than other maps because bosses take so long.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And also there's a rule I want to incorporate on this stage that is shared on low tide regarding the whales. So you know how sometimes there's a fly fish over here?
Mm-hmm.
And we have players on the whales coming back, but the fly fish still has both launchers?
Yeah.
I'd say the player in front throws at the left launcher, then the player in the back throws at the right launcher,
Yeah.
facing the fly fish.
Yeah, it applies with the rule that the closest player to the fly fish aims to the left one.
Yep.
And the farthest to the right one. That also helps to prevent accidentally killing fly fishes when we want to cripple them. So if you wanna cripple a fly fish and not kill them yet, just aim for the left basket. In that case, if there's a player nearby that also wants to cripple it, you will both bomb the left launcher and the right launcher should be ready for the next cycle.
It also applies off of the whales as well.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you're the first person to bomb a full fly fish, aim for the left launcher. I think that would be handy in not bombing the same launcher.
Yeah, I'd say as long as like there's no one near you, and if like there's multiple people waiting, then just stick to the like side rule, where the person on the left goes for the one on the left, etc.
Yep. And also, if you don't know if there's someone behind you also following you, just bomb the left one, just in case there's someone behind you.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, as Hawken said, if there's already two people next to each other, left goes left, right goes right.
Yeah.
Okay, what else about normal tide? Goldies. On fog. Wave 1, they're pretty much not gonna make it. The last Goldie. Because it's the very last boss.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even with the best possible spawn, it's probably not gonna make it.
I think the best possible spawn is from low tide side.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. And even then, it's like...
Yeah.
just barely... Anyway, we have to watch out for this middle spawn here. Because... we just need someone at One? No. Even here, it goes all the way around.
Yeah, but I think that middle goldie,
Oh wait.
as long as we keep killing stuff from the long ramp, the big ramp, it should be lured to the best possible path, right?
Actually, it says
Oh no.
this.
Yeah, that's the best possible path, I think. So if we keep killing eels or steelheads in that ramp and there's someone there, and we stay on basket from 40 seconds, 50 seconds on, it should be lured to the best path, right? Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be better to have it where it's like you could kill it early at that wall, the other side.
Right here.
Just take longer. Yeah. At least having that as an option if it's like not gonna make it to basket.
Yep. Okay, let's move on to high tide day.
There's something about normal tide day
Oh.
I want to talk about. It's mostly the first Drizzler because sometimes I feel like we're not in the same page. Where should we lure the first Drizzler to if it spawns like in the middle dock? Because sometimes we lure it like next to C, and sometimes we lure it to A. I just want to be prepared so we all are in
I
the
think
same
learning to
page.
see is better.
Yeah, let's lure it to C
If
and
it's
then
I
the
kill
mean
it
for the
first,
here.
first
yeah,
spawn.
the first spawn.
If there's a
Yeah, like
Drizzler behind
killing
it, let's lure it to A.
Alright.
Yeah, I agree with that. But otherwise, just like the amount of time you would save from bringing it to C to A is like not worth it.
Yeah.
Because it's a very short distance.
And also just a thing about Drizzler noticing Drizzlers as the first spawn is like, oh, hello. Okay.
Yeah, I think getting in the habit of starting at basket maybe, because like I do this sometimes where I like don't paint the wall on the right early enough, so then I'm down there or like on that side, and a first Drizzler spawns and stops on like the post instead of being able to lure it.
Yeah, we should also be aware of our time before the game starts, like if we're able to paint a wall or not.
Yeah.
For Drizzler thingies, depending on the side that you're standing on, you wanna be looking at the direction that the Drizzler will spawn at as well. So it looks like this. This side, you also want to be looking this here. And then maybe this side this way.
There's a Drizzler that can spawn next to the rail on the long ramp. It's next to the red squid on your diagram.
Oh, right here.
Sounds like yes.
I think maybe that one is fine to stop there and then kill.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if it's the first one.
Cause that's like one of the rarer spawns, I think. The common
The one
spawns
thing I
all
would-
happen around here.
Yeah, I hardly ever see that one as the first.
Also,
I would say for the green squid, I don't think the starting position should be down on that ramp. Maybe just like right above, because I don't know the exact like just their radius, but I think it's just easier if you're on top of the ledge to like avoid stalling it.
and also a
Versus
Drizzler
having
can
to, like,
spawn on this part as well.
yeah.
So you wanna be like on top here, looking that way.
Yeah.
Also, eels. Like, if we... Dang it. If we have, like, 2 or 3 team members at basket ready to do something, we can kill eels early at the wall. At the walls. Because they're just slow and it's good to get rid of them that early.
Yeah,
I
they're
think
slow and they take up a lot of space.
I think it can apply to the eels that spawn on the low tide side as well.
Yeah. And even steelheads too, I think.
Yeah, I think that spot you're showing is really important and doesn't get used much, just because it can be like kind of hard to notice or capitalize on. But like with the ones coming up that ramp, it takes a while for them to like get closer, and even when they get up further on the ramp, the eggs are still like pretty far from basket. So it's like overall, if you're waiting that much and it's only saving like 2 seconds for egg running, it's probably just not worth it.
I think as a general rule, if we have 2 or 3 people available, let's just go kill the thing early, if it's an eel or a steelhead.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
sounds good.
Or even a stop drizzler at one of the points, like here, those sorts of places.
Mm-hmm.
Something else I was thinking about with like if you had an eel in the position where the pink squid is, would it be beneficial to try to take it up towards where the orange squid was instead of like bringing it to basket directly? As it could just like depend on what else is in that area if you want to keep that like center area clear. But it'd also rely on people knowing who has the eel aggro, which can be difficult.
Yeah, I think that would be good to divert the eel to go this way.
I think it's good as long as no one is going for far eggs on dogs because that can block the wall.
Oh yeah. But then I think it's possible to jump over this eel from here.
Mm.
By the way,
No, I mean when they are returning to basket and they are not using the rails.
oh, like here.
Yes.
We just have to be aware of just our team position and such.
Yeah. At the very least, you can get up on the grate and like help kill stuff.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't be worst.
Also high class.
That's...
And ink the ball. Hello.
Oh, I just remembered something. Sometimes we stop scrappers here, but I think it would
Yeah,
be better to bring them here, or just
yeah,
closer.
closer to basket. It's also a bit of an awareness problem. Near endway, we are bombing like long uh, the long ramp because we are gathering eggs, and sometimes we stop scrappers there instead of making them go to basket near the endway. So we lose 3 eggs. Yeah, we stop scrappers there because we keep bombing the long ramp in the end of the wave instead of letting it go to basket and kill it there. So it keeps getting tagged.
I think a lot of the times it can be like a difficult situation because there'll be eggs below that wall. So people will be like running the eggs and bombing that a lot, but end up stopping other bosses because of it. And it's kind of difficult to say, like, would it be better to leave the eggs for a bit and let the bosses go through? Probably in some situations at least. but it can be difficult to coordinate.
In the case of the scrapper, we just need one person to hit it for it to go to basket. So I think just... And that's 3
Yeah.
eggs moving up pretty quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, as long as no one else is bombing it, like Sess said. Which can happen because it's kind of just instinctual to like bomb for like snatchers and lessers and stuff when you're running eggs.
Yeah. So let's try to be careful of that in the games.
Yeah.
Eos, I think we can just... Should we just kill there?
I think so, because it takes so long for them to reach the top, and they block the basket a
Yeah.
lot while they're doing it.
Yeah.
So it's just not worth it.
And also for Mars, I think we should start, like, toward the end of the game, we should start bringing them right up next to basket instead of, like, over here or over here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think princess mentality for scrappers on Mars really it's really helpful in this map because you have the metal ring around the basket that slows down egg collecting. So the closer the better. The better.
And also sometimes we have players killing Drizzlers here, but we have eggs to run here, or maybe here. And then we end up having too many eggs to run, and there's eggs left over when we could have let the Drizzler jump the basket while we run those eggs as well.
Mm-hmm.
I think sometimes it is an awareness issue, because someone will see that just there and focus on it, and they won't see the other eggs because they might be below a ledge or something.
We-
So
Yeah.
maybe just if you're running eggs and there's like a big pile, so like it won't be finished, like you need help with it, just this way, I guess.
Yeah.
And
In that
people can just ignore it if they have better eggs to run or something like that.
it can also be because the person killing the Drizzler doesn't know if the Drizzler is on the first cycle or on the second cycle. So they don't know they'll jump soon or not. So they take the safe option. So BC might be very helpful for that.
Yeah. Also, just remember that this steelhead down here can trigger if you are on this platform.
Yeah.
And also I've seen... Actually, no, not that I've just seen. It is possible to make the steelhead come a little bit more up. If you're on this little edge of basket that's slightly elevated, the steelhead will come up slightly on this side, and then on this side it'll go up to here.
Yeah.
So just know
I
that.
think that works a little bit with like the slightly raised platform where the rail goes across.
Yeah, it works well with that. You can also inkjet lure
Oh
as
yes,
long as
inkjet luring.
yeah.
So, similar concept here. If we have eggs like here and here, we should have someone, a single player, lure the steelhead or steelheads that are coming up this ramp. Because that's more productive than just killing it there and making one player run 3 eggs.
Yeah, I mean we're gonna have plenty of unused specials too on Golden Polaris, so might as well use the inkjet for luring if we can.
Yeah.
Also, I think inkjetting here is kind of better because it's pretty much putting the inkjet between the steelhead and other players on these sides.
Yeah.
So it always keeps the aggro. Whereas if the inkjet is on here, the steelhead might aggro on the pink player over here.
Yeah.
And this should be enough to make the steelhead at least come up to this level right here.
guess also keep in mind if someone is doing a steelhead lure, like not to go down and grab eggs right by its feet. Like wait a little and
Yeah.
do something else for a bit.
Yeah, but the problem with that is that steelheads tend to be desynced a lot.
Yeah.
So it's sometimes not something we can control.
Also, remember if we're doing the lure over here for the steelhead, make sure you're like jumping up and down on the end of this rail because that puts you higher.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't know how to do that, you hold down B after jumping the first time on the rail, and then just hold your movement so that you're always on the rail. Hold your left stick in the opposite direction of where the rail ends. If that makes sense.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
so
think so.
basically if you're holding the jump button when you go off the end of a rail, you kind of automatically jump. So holding that button will like make you do the maximum jump height, and that allows you to get back onto the end and just repeat.
You can also use the rails from returning to basket to lure steelheads
Yeah.
while doing that trick.
You can also do that on low tide.
I think the steelhead comes all the way up for these rails.
Yes.
Yeah, it's also a lot easier to break the lure if someone's closer. But in some situations that can be nice.
Also, there's a trick I wanted to mention. So if there's a stinger here or eggs that are over there, but it's being blocked by like an eel that is aggroed on you.
Hi, Seb.
Okay, so. And also, you can come to this rail,
Yeah, jump on the rail next to the platform.
and then you can do that.
Oh, one more thing to keep in mind. It's definitely situational, but can be useful, is if you're on a rail and or when you're jumping off a rail and activating jet before you touch the ground, the jump point will be back at the start of the rail. So say you're getting like far eggs that were by one of the rails, you can do that and then deposit your egg while you're in the inkjet, and once it ends, you'll jump back to the shore and you can get another egg.
Oh yeah, that's gonna be super helpful for last minute fire eggs.
Yeah. The only thing to be careful about is like if there's only one egg left or it's like right by the shore, you might the eggs might get snatched before you jump back.
Yeah. Anything else about normal tide?
I cannot think of anything right now.
Okay, let's move on to high tide then. So we talked about this last year, at least the OGs did, but we'll have the strong weapons like
Like Splat Charger.
like G-Slosher be up at the front dealing with the new spawns. And then we'll have weapons like G-Brawler and G-Blaster handling the leftover eggs from the previous spawn.
Yeah, slosher should especially be aware of fly fishes and new spawns because it enables the team to run the eggs from the previous spawns more quickly. So the objective in high tide, talking about lessers, the objective in high tide is to try to prevent any lesser coming to the basket platform. So the basket should always be clean as for the other weapons to be able to egg as efficiently as possible.
Yeah, G-Slosher focus on mostly killing. And then you can grab some eggs from the new direction whenever you can. And then do that in between sloshes. G-Charger, like if there's a G-Slosher doing its job, it can kill stuff from a distance while running distant eggs. Though the G-Slosher will probably kill everything anyway. If the G-Slosher is not present, the G-Charger can take over the role. And just shoot down lines of lessers and stuff. Also, I think we should just kill eels as soon as they spawn.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And also, same thing for steelheads over here when there are eggs to collect on these sides. We should lure it to basket. Like, we can have someone over here on the rail. Or even an inkjet over here, luring it up.
Yeah, the other thing I would say for weapon rolls is, like, if there's a slosher and charger present, the other weapons, just, like, make sure to support them well. Because, like, I mean, you could, like, blaster and stuff is definitely helpful versus stingers, but it's also good to make sure the powerful weapons aren't being harassed by lessers.
Yeah, if you see like
And foremost.
a bunch of small fry at the charger's feet, you kinda just wanna send a couple shots their way.
Yeah, just like make sure they have room to move and refill.
And also keep the field painted whenever you can. Make sure you shoot.
Also,
Yep.
like with the weaker weapons running eggs, and say there's like a fly fish or something. It's not necessary all the time, but like if there's only one slosher, they may like be having to deal with other stuff. So like if you have the ink, it can be helpful to like just bomb a fly fish anyways, just to like take some of the pressure off.
So kinda like this situation.
Yeah.
Okay, if there are eggs here and here, which do we grab first?
I would say grates.
Okay.
Great. Well,
Just have
if
to make
there's
sure
yeah,
you're killing the
bombing,
snatchers.
yeah, bombing or either G-Charger killing the snatcher because those eggs can be gone really quickly.
Yeah, or idea if you have a G slosher, just like sending a slosh that way. But yeah, I think it's good to prioritize the grates because it can easily be blocked.
Unless if it's only one egg at the edge of the water and the ramp, I will go for that instead.
Yeah,
Yeah,
this.
definitely. If there's a single egg, you really want to get that out of there because it is so easy for a snatcher. Especially because it might, if it's like right at the edge, it wouldn't even have to do the jump animation. It can just grab it and then disappear.
Agreed. And also, I
So that could
remember
be super scary.
we can do a snatcher optimization over here. The eggs come over here. Just kill it before it goes in the water here.
Mhm.
Yeah.
How long does it take for the snatcher to reach that area?
Uh,
If there are three eggs.
I think the total time is about like 20 seconds or so.
24 seconds, pretty much. Oh wait, no.
Yeah,
20
like
24
seconds.
for it to get back. So it takes 20
Yeah.
seconds to pick them up.
All right.
Is that like time, the first time is time to reach the eggs,
I think
and
so.
then time it's done picking them up, and then time it gets back to the water?
Yeah, but if Blaster kills that stinger, the Blaster usually takes an egg with them, so we should be wary for around 18 to 20 seconds, I think.
Yeah, it just depends. Because like if there's only 2 eggs, the snatcher tech isn't as important anyways. It just depends on the situation. Like I think the main time you want to use it is if there's a lot of bosses getting killed there, which is mainly going to be like wave 2 or wave 3, and you need to focus on other stuff after killing those bosses. Like if there's a flyfish or stinger over there that gets killed.
Anything else on high tide day?
I would just say be aware of all the snatcher jumping off points, because I mean the specifically the ones on the ramps on the left and right side. That one, yeah. And those can be very sneaky. Because you may think, oh, that egg's pretty close to basket, it's safe. But then if an eel's coming up and is blocking you, or a scrapper or something, and then you don't have a slosher or anything to handle it, they can yoink those really quickly.
Or also, a slight optimization here. We can make the eggs like on here go up to this corner.
Mm-hmm. And those eggs are for the fly fish, right?
Yeah. And also... Uh-oh, I forgot. Oh yeah, Drizzlers. So,
Bicouli asks, do you want to kill scrappers as soon as possible on high tide day or lure them?
if we don't have that many eggs to one, let's just kill them with G-Slosher. Or if someone
Yeah.
happens to shoot it accidentally, when it spawns, they can turn it, and then everyone else can shoot it, and then we can run the eggs quickly. I think
Yeah, it could just depends how much time you have available, like at the start of the wave.
at the start of the wave, it's fine.
It's yeah.
Okay, node eggs. How familiar is everyone else with the nodes and how eggs interact with them?
Somewhat familiar, but I'm not really. I don't really manipulate the spawns to make them spawn certain node, like Marty does with Tetris.
Yeah, I mean, as long as one of those 3 eggs is occupying that space, right, it can force the other ones to come up.
Yeah, that's how it works. So the eggs that land here is the closest to the water, or the closest to where the boss is killed, and then this spot is the second closest. So the third closest will probably be up here. We can actually look at the nodes here. So maybe this map is better. Nodes. We can see... Oh, actually... Yeah. Eggs are here. And then eggs come up here because this is the second closest. The eel was here, stinger was over here. If you look at the clip again. Yeah. Stinger died first. Eel died about over here. This spot is closer than here. So the eggs naturally landed here as the second closest spot, because this first spot was taken by the stinger eggs.
I have a question regarding especially eels spawning on the area on the left on high tide. You know how you can attack them when they are still on water using that one. I have seen eggs fly to the where the rail is if you kill it early enough.
Yeah, that can happen.
It may be useful if we have G chargers and nothing else to do, or maybe while running eggs on the long ramp.
Yeah.
There's also the eel over here that can be killed, so the eggs land up here, around here.
Yeah.
And also remember you
also,
can aim it like
yeah, you
this.
can get a shot on it from there, yeah. So just be aware that no lessers are sneaking up on you.
Can you post the clip in chat, Bicouli? So for now, let's talk about Drizzlers on high tide. Because the same problem tends to happen from normal tide, where we kill the Drizzler early when it can still jump. So if we enable this, you can see that both of these Drizzlers here can jump the basket. For this Drizzler, we just need to be at the corner of the metal ring on basket. For this corner, we just have to be just in this area. Pretty easy to remember. And for this one, you just need to be on the upper half of basket area. Because sometimes I see people running for eggs like right here, and then the Drizzler jumps back. So just be careful of that.
Yeah.
This one is just not that hard to delure.
Yeah, I think the most often case I see it is if it's like at Q or maybe O, and it'll end up going to P.
Yeah, Q and O to P.
If you're just anywhere on that side running eggs, which can happen a lot, can be rough. So if there are a lot of eggs there, I think it would maybe just make sure it dies. Because I'm not sure if it would... Maybe if we had someone standing there, like timing it well, so they're not just waiting there the whole time, but you'd also have to make sure that no one else is really close to it, which, I mean, there's probably going to be like eggs at the shore in that situation, which means people are going to be right next to it. So I'm not sure if going for that basket lure would be worth it. I think it might be better to just make sure the Drizzler dies before it jumps.
Yeah, especially end wave. I think during end wave, either charger or slosher should be aware of nearby Drizzlers, because those other weapons that are gonna be the slayers on high tide, while Brella and Blaster will try to get the far eggs.
If we kill Q and there's still a ton of eggs to run, we can still have a snatcher come and bring the eggs to like here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With
Yeah, I mean,
O.
Q and even O aren't like terrible to kill at. The main thing is just P. P is the worst because it's very vulnerable to lessers, and it's just the farthest out of the three. So definitely want to avoid.
Also
leaving it
try
there if possible.
not to kill P too early when it's jumping the Q, because the eggs will land right here.
Yeah. And also kind of the reverse. If you have Charger, even if you end up missing the kill on it at Q, you can still shoot it like right as it starts to jump to P. And if you can, like if it's already damaged a bit, you can kill it and keep the eggs there.
Yeah. I think that's all for high tide. Unless anyone else has something. Okay. Let's move to normal tide then.
You mean low tide?
Where all the interesting stuff happens. So, same rule that I mentioned from normal tide. Person closest to the fly fish on the whale throws left. Person behind them throws right. To avoid confusion, and same basket throws.
Makes sense.
Also, Blaster should be aware of snatcher optimizations on any side.
Yeah.
Do you have the snatcher route map around? We could use as a refresher before rotation
Yeah,
starts.
I'll try and get it.
I can post it.
Okay.
There you go.
So most weapons would probably be able to perform the tech at the corner. Like that's the most common one, the top left corner. But it's definitely easiest for Blaster. I think Brella wouldn't have too hard a time, but the main thing is lessers pop up there a lot.
And also this corner right here. Pretty much any
Yeah,
weapon can do that.
I saw a clip on Twitter where they could do a snatch optimization with I think it was a regular weapon, by pre-damaging the snatcher with a bomb explosion and then using another bomb explosion next to the corner so it will die. But I will need to find that clip.
I think I saw that.
I remember something with like Jet Sculpture where they one tapped it to damage it.
Yeah, It was similar, but I was thinking maybe Umbrella can do that since it's easy to put damage a Snatcher without killing it with the bullets, and then attempt to optimize with a bomb or maybe just another shots. But I'm not sure if it's reliable with Umbrella.
Yeah. But I would definitely keep in mind the right side if you are a blaster, because it is pretty easy to get those, but pretty much impossible for any other weapon, unless you're using like a special like splashdown. And the both on the left and the right, again, blaster is pretty much the only one that could realistically do it. The ones that go towards the rail platforms, but those aren't as important because the stingers are just kind of closer to basket, so it's less likely that you're going to be relying on snatchers, but still do keep it in mind as an option.
The Snatcher stays underwater for like 2-3 seconds, right? So there's a big opening to try to Snatcher the Snatcher dead with blaster. So just as a reminder that it's the window is not that strict, but still it's small. And about talking about snatch optimization, that's something I wanted to talk about in cannons because we seem to clash a lot during cannons with killing snatchers for the weapons that are not in cannon to grab the far X, and then the cannon that was preparing for optimize just lost time. So I don't know if we can talk about it right now or during the when we talk about night waves, because it's basically a day wave.
Yeah, we can talk about it right now since we have the Snatcher map up.
Yeah. What I do when I play cannons is like I during the first 50 seconds of the game of the wave, I can go for far X just normally, and cannon shouldn't, or so cannon doesn't stretch much on snatch optimization. But after the 50-second mark, I try to avoid going for far X and rather try to help the cannon with snatch optimization either on voice chat or using in-game callouts like this way, because I think I have seen plenty of times that during the last 20 seconds, 30 seconds, we go for a far egg and the snatcher already had 2 eggs and we kill it, and the timer resets for the cannon to be able to
Yeah.
optimize the egg. So I think it wastes time for the cannon because a cannon it's taking notes of that snatcher, and it's taking like a mental timer, and we just wasted the time of the cannon by doing that.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think just trusting whoever's cannon to do the tech, and if they miss it, well, that's that. But like I definitely see a lot where like people going out for a far egg that was planned on using stature tech anyways, so it's kind of just wasting time. So I mean, I could see that being viable to do if you have nothing else to do, but that's going to be pretty rare.
Also, I think it'll be good to have a second cannon on the left side in case the first cannon gets busy with something at basket, or maybe something blocks its shots.
Yeah, it happens often.
Because the
But
right side, the middle cannon should be able to reach pretty easily, I'd say.
yeah, Yeah, but on Golden Polaris, I don't think Canon should be that reliable on killing basket threats if we have like G-Chargers or G-Sloshers, and instead should focus more on stingers, fly fishes, and the snatch optimization. Since yeah, we're gonna have chargers, so still heads and ears shouldn't be that problematic.
Yeah, that's true.
Unless weapon set is like really trash, just blasters or umbrellas, then I guess we will play it like a normal rotation.
Yeah, I think Brella should be the typical cannoner if it is in the comp, because I think it's very good to have Slosher to be able to go out and kill flyfish right away, especially the center flyfish, because that one you can't really reach it with cannons. And ideally you can have a blaster in the comp to also do snatcher tech along with the cannons.
Also, for Blaster, you can just spam hold the shoot button at where the snatcher is going to be and you just get it.
Yeah.
Anything else for cannons?
No, that's pretty much it. From me, at least.
So, like, when things get kind of bad, I think the middle cannon shouldn't be afraid to switch cannons to the left or to the right as well.
Mhm.
Just don't be stuck with the middle cannon. Be flexible.
Yeah.
Also, Bicouli posted the clip in the chat.
I'd say if there's like an eel on you in center cannons or something like that, I'd say just like this way and head to basket, and hopefully the team will kill it.
Yeah. Or maybe that's when you can kill the eel early and then do snatcher optimization for it later. Especially if it's on the right side, because that side that cannot happen twice in a row. So that side is less likely to occur. And so it's easier to do snatcher optimizations on that side because there's less to interrupt the optimization. Whereas on the left side, you'll get more spawns on that side more often. So maybe something will block the optimization. Or you have to constantly shoot at something on that side, which kills the snatcher and resets the timer. Okay. Anything else regarding low tide, cannons, or snatcher optimizations on low tide? I think we should prioritize middle far eggs before the left and right ones because those ones are less.
Yeah, I have a question.
Yeah.
There's a fly fish that spawns like on the top left corner on this map, and sometimes we approach using the rail on the left, and sometimes the approach is done from middle. I want to know which one should we do more, because either if there is like a a split when 2 players go for the fly fish on the left and then 1 player is going in the middle, then it turns the fly fish away from 1 player, and it can make it difficult.
Yeah, so the middle fly fish is part of the middle spawn group. So let's take the whale in case something blocks us from reaching the fly fish at the middle. Like an eel or something.
That's
Alright.
fair.
Yes, to be on the same page.
Yeah, I think the main source of differences is sometimes I think the situation will be like there was already a group of spawns on the left, so there's like stuff over there that you either want to avoid or avoid deluring.
Yeah, it'll depend on the situation. If we're luring stuff from the left, let's go take the middle.
Mm-hmm.
And if there's an eel, the player at the front who has the eel should control it accordingly so that it doesn't get in the way. Okay, like for example, eel spawns over here. Flyfish is like over here. We have this player who's aggroed, and then we have these players going for the flyfish. We have this player back off over here to make the eel go this way. And then when the flyfish is killed, these players start going for it. And then now you start going for it so that the eel is behind all of you and not blocking the eggs. So just stalling the eel a little bit so that it's out of the way. And then you can all exit the whale and then the eel would go this way. So if you have eel aggro, just know that you don't have to immediately go for the eggs. Just keep the eel out of the way of your teammates.
Yeah.
Like even if it takes a couple to few seconds to do so, as long as you get all the eggs, it should be fine. Like I've seen before, someone has an eel or scrapper and then immediately return the basket with it, but then there's one egg out there just left there. And it would have been faster if they just maybe stalled the scrapper or eel for a few seconds and then get the egg.
Yeah. It should be easier to do that with a Grizzco weapon since clearing lessers should be less time consuming than in a normal rotation.
Yep. Also, hold on. Can G-Slosher reach stingers from middle? So there's like a stinger here, right? No, wait. There's a setting for it. Right here. Oop. There. I think it can just barely reach that stinger if it jumps and shoots. Maybe this stinger, or definitely that stinger. Can it reach this stinger? I think it can if it jumps and shoots.
Yeah,
And then that stinger.
It's dangerous to go there because of the lessers.
Yeah, but at the same time it's G-Slosher.
Yeah.
It can do that. I think it can do that if it jumps and shoots. Same thing here. That's something to test out on the rotation.
Yeah.
G-Charger definitely reaches, but it requires the full ink tank. Also, something about G-Sloshers to aim for the middle parts rather than the head. Because I think that just kills it slightly faster. Because you have the shot going down and hitting the bottom parts, and the top parts falling down on the shot as it's falling. Whereas if you aim for the head, it's limited to just falling down and hitting each part as it goes down. If that makes
So
sense.
what you're saying is you should
Yeah.
have aimed for the
Do you
head.
have a clip of it?
Yeah. Let me just... Ah. Okay, guess I'll get my homepage up. Or maybe I'll just search it in a different tab.
Yeah, you can search it in a different tab and post it in bot review.
I guess I'll just have it up on the screen share. So, it's like that.
Mm,
That seems pretty fast, doesn't it?
mm,
It's the same technique you use for the head. Like, as soon as the crosshair indicates that you are close enough for the shot to reach, you just shoot.
it might be faster, but not by that much. But yeah, we can try aiming to the middle.
Yeah, it'd be a good thing to practice.
It's pretty much the same as trying to get a blaster one shot. Like, at least the area you aim at, that is. Just above the red part. Yeah, aiming closer to the middle gives you more lenience for range. I don't know how to describe that much better. Like... I want to illustrate it somewhere, but you have the map in the way.
Someone in your chat is asking if there is a chicken.
Yeah, a single chicken that just decides to crow every day in the afternoon.
Yeah, it's jet lagged.
Okay, I have a solution for this. Boom. Clear canvas. Okay, let's have the G slosher. Oh no! After we select the tools.
Big.
And now we have the stinger. Let's do a little puppet show. Okay, how do I describe this? I know what it is, but I don't know how to say it.
Yeah, the angle of the shot should give him more range because it's on a straight, closer to a straight line,
Yeah, that's
and
it.
on a vertical plane, rather than going in an angle towards vertical.
So let's say that's the stinger. Let's aim for the middle right here. But if we want to also aim at the top, at that same range, we would have... Look at that. You can't reach it. You have to go closer. That's basically what we're talking about. The lower you have to aim, the farther you can be from shooting.
Yeah, the closer to a straight line is, the closer you are to maximum range. So it makes sense that aiming for the middle gives you more range than aiming at the top.
And also remember that you can pretty much go right up against the stinger and just shoot upwards, and you get all the parts as well. If you're ever in that situation. Since we're on the topic of weapons, maybe I should try and find other weapon text to refresh our memory. Just have G. Oh, really? Ugh. Did I name them weird? Wait, really?
Yeah, rip.
Really?
Hmm. Do you think the clips are in the tip guide you made?
Oh yeah, actually, did I have? I'll check it. Okay, I have some. Uh-oh. Well, that kind of sucks about Twitter. You can just delete stuff. Well, I guess that doesn't suck, but whatever. So this is G-Brella one cycling steelhead. You basically have to pre-fire so that... Okay, pre-fire, aim high, so that the bullets hit the steelhead as it's firing.
Same principle as with Drizzlers.
Yeah. You can also pre-fire with G-Blaster and basically kill the steelhead with only indirects. Because the fire rate is just so high. Here's something for Rush. You don't need to hold down left click the entire time. I mean, not left click. You don't need to shoot the entire time. You can actually tap shoot and still get a
Yeah.
decent amount.
And you get you conserve your ink more doing that.
Yeah. So that can help on something like High Tide Rush, where we're not that concerned with keeping the spawns low because they're just easily accessible.
Yeah, I think in high tide rushes it mostly works on the long ramp area because there's plenty of room to recover in case a chum goes to basket area and kills someone. Whereas in the short ramp, it's a bit harder to pull because straight chums cause more damage there than in the long ramp.
Yeah. And also just something I've noticed before but haven't like fully confirmed. I think if you squid bag, you don't instantly die. You actually take knockback when you squid bag. So you take 40 damage, and then you die. But it's still pretty quick. It's not instant like how we're used to, where you just get touched once and then you instantly die quickly.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe squid bagging can help prolong your death just in case. And also there was this where you shoot the floor with the blaster.
Yeah, that's really useful when you're caught off guard with blaster in rush. It's really helpful when you want to reposition yourself and you're getting surrounded from all sides. So
And also if the chums are just too close for the blast to hit them. Because it's not like Luna where you can just shoot forward and it kills stuff right in front of you.
Yeah. Seb asks if you can send that clip in chat. I mean tweet.
Which one?
The rush. The one with painting your feet. Yeah, that one.
Okay. Why this one specifically? Just for archival purposes? Okay. It's also in the tips document if you ever lose it or something. It's also for G-Brella, just remember that its DPS is actually lower than G-Blaster. It's like 300 DPS, G-Blaster is 360. That's because 4 of your 11 bullets is the maximum damage it can do. What I mean by that is, you cannot exceed like 60 damage per shot on a single enemy. So that's 4 bullets which do 15 damage each, which equates to 60 damage overall. So you don't, when you're shooting like a Cohawk, you don't want, like if there's a crowd of lessers and happens to be a Cohawk or something you want to focus on, you don't need every single one of your bullets to hit the Cohawk. You just need at least 4 of them. So you can actually spread out your shots with G-Brella, kind of like G-Blaster does. This also applies to high HP enemies like the Goldie. You don't need every shot to hit the Goldie, you just need 4 bullets to hit it out of your 11 bullets. So basically half of your reticle you want on the enemy. If that makes sense.
Are you talking right now, Reyko? I think something weird happened to your audio.
I was talking about G-Brella.
Yeah, you just cut off suddenly. You're good now.
Oh. Well, I was talking about how you only need 4 out of 11 of your G-Brella bullets to hit an enemy to do the maximum damage per shot. Which is 60 damage, each bullet dealing 15 damage. So you can spread out your shots more in crowds. You don't need to shoot... You don't need every one of your bullets to hit a high HP enemy like a Cohawk. Because that's just wasting the rest of your bullets. Same thing with Goldies and maybe Mothership. Though Mothership is less of a thing you want to utilize that on. For Brella, just focus on shooting at crowds rather than a single enemy. Like blasters.
Yeah.
And also, remember that G-Brella has a long white ink time, which means it takes a while to begin recovering ink again after a single shot. So you don't wanna be firing like 2 shots, swim, 2 shots, swim. You wanna just unload a lot of the G-Brella's ink at once, recover for a while, unload a lot of it again. G-Blaster you can shoot a few times, swim, shoot a few times, swim, because it has high ink recovery. Or fast ink recovery, I mean. Whereas G-Brother doesn't have that. It takes a while to begin recovering ink again. So in that regard, it's kind of like a heavy weapon in how you treat its ink recovery.
More reasons why Brella is not that good.
Yep. And also, it still has high walk speed though, so while you're shooting a lot, you can be walking from here to there, gathering eggs and such. Also, another thing to remember regarding the whales on Polaris is how they affect your bomb throws. Okay, how do I illustrate this? Actually, I have a video of this. I should bring it up. Oh, what the heck? That's not what I wanted to do. A video from December 1st, 2020. So... Bicouli, it takes about, I think, 194 frames, which is almost 3 seconds. Just a little over 3 seconds. So you're gonna hear my voice in the video, just know that it's the video, not me talking in real time. Okay, where do I say it though? Here it is. Oh wait, so something else I've also discovered recently. Let me hold out a bomb. So let's say this is the default bomb throwing distance. So we know that momentum helps throw the bomb further. So let's throw the bomb normally there. And then I kind of stepped over the line, but you can see that there's more than a line's worth over here. That's because of the momentum. Why am I inking? So, aim the bomb there. It goes that far. Aim the bomb there and jump. It goes slightly... ever so slightly further? Not really. So let's try that again. Throw it there. And clear difference right there.
It's almost like
So
a
the thing I discovered is that the momentum may be additive to the default bomb distance. So you can see how I'm moving, but when I stop, the bomb cursor kind of goes back a little bit. When I move forward, it goes forward a little. It's still going forward, but when I stop, it moves back a little. You see that? That's the momentum being added to the default bomb throwing distance.
Hi, GX.
And you can see it goes to the side too. You can see how it wiggles back and forth, even though I'm just moving in one direction and stopping. This also applies to moving backwards. And I don't think you can really see it when you're swimming, because you're swimming, you can't really see it. But I think when you're swimming, it's just the momentum is much more. So what I thought how it could be applicable to Salmon Run is, other than understanding farm momentum and stuff, if you have a fly fish right here, you're right under it and you want to get a bomb in, but normally you can't. So let's say this is a fly fish, the basket, fly fish launcher, but aiming right up, the default throw would be too far. But if you move back, the backwards momentum would be applied and added, so the bomb would actually not go as far as it would have. That sounds kind of obvious though. So let's throw a bomb, aim at that gray line, go. And we're gonna apply backwards momentum. So you can see the difference right here. This time let's try applying forward momentum. And you can see this went further. You can see how it's kinda even. The distance. The distance is even between the bombs. That's also why I think it's additive. Okay, that's all for that video.
Reyko's classroom.
So, adding on to the points I made in that video, if swimming and throwing a bomb adds plus 10 momentum in whatever direction you're swimming in, the wide whales add like 25 momentum in the direction that you're traveling on it.
25, I see.
Yes.
Sorry about that.
Anytime 25 is mentioned, there's just gonna be a joke about it. It's gonna be the new funny number. Okay, so let's illustrate it now. So if I were to throw a bomb in this way, it would not go straight because I'm traveling this way on the rail. It would instead go more like this way, even though I'm aiming that way. Now, because this is the default aim, like I'm aiming this way, the rail adds, riding on the rail and the speed of the rail traveling this way adds momentum this way. So the bomb then gets adjusted from this angle to this angle. It gets adjusted differently depending on the speed that you are traveling. So just keep that in mind whenever you're throwing from rails. Now, yeah?
Yes, it's not about momentum, but just as we are talking about the rails, just as a reminder that you can lure steelheads using the rails by
Yes.
not letting go, and it's very useful, especially when a split is done and you're returning. There should be just only one person in the basket, so the lure should be able to be completed.
It makes a difference from the steelhead being here to over here, because you can then jump to a basket and make the steelhead go up against it.
Exactly, because the eggs tend to clutter that area, and that it's so easy to lose eggs in that area because it's so close to the water. So if we can lure a bit more than we usually do on low tide, it would be really good. Just try to avoid killing stuff in that corner if possible.
And also, just because there's a steelhead being lured here doesn't mean we have to be all the way back here for it to be lured. we
Yeah,
can still
just
be
need to
around here and here doing stuff while this is being lured, like
yeah, the
getting
steelhead
eggs,
the
getting
steelhead
lost.
will target the closest player. It doesn't matter how vertical it is. It will target the closest player. So as long as you're behind the person that's doing the lure, it should be fine. But it should be important also to remember that these things happen often. So accidental aggroing can happen still.
Yeah, that just can't be helped sometimes. We just have to deal with it. And also, steelheads coming from the back, like here, we can use these rails even.
Yeah.
Though it's harder to notice for the other players, so we can this way while we're on the rail. This one is kinda close, so I don't see this rail being used practically that much. This one too can be used over here, if we have the chance. So back to bomb momentum on the rails. You know what Ibri said, if you jump on the rails and you reach the peak height, you won't have any momentum. Because you're also not moving that much either when you jump. So if you want to fix your momentum to just be normal, you just jump high on the rail and then throw at the peak of your jump. Though if you still
Yeah.
need help on the rails, you can hold down the bomb throw button to see the trajectory and then adjust from there.
I have a question regarding momentum with fly fishes. How the momentum also applies on how far the bomb bounces back? Because I have seen that if you have a lot of momentum and throw the bomb into the fly fish basket, there's also a high possibility that the bomb will just bounce back even if you aim correctly.
Yeah, it
So
seems like it. Even
that's
with
why
bomb
I
launcher.
try to yeah, that's why I try to even if I'm in rails, I try to lower my momentum by jumping before throwing the bomb, just to make sure the bomb won't fall. But it's something to keep in mind too.
Yeah, same thing with bomb launcher. If you're launching at like the maximum distance for a fly fish that's very close, it's just the bomb is gonna bounce out basically.
Yeah, it's so frustrating.
So something to counteract that when using bomb launcher is to walk backwards so that you're moving some of the momentum. Though you shouldn't be using like your full force on a close fly fish anyway. But just something to keep in mind. And also this momentum stuff applies to knockback and the propellers. There's some slight differences between each. Ibu is watching the stream.
Yeah, he is.
Okay, that's low tide, I think. Oh, also, last thing that I can think of. Make sure if we're at basket and we know who has the eel egg roll, if there are eggs like here, we lure the eel
Yeah,
this way. Stuff like that.
yeah,
Make sure the eel and scrappers don't cover the eggs. There's also some Drizzler stuff that happens to make note of. So normally when Drizzlers spawn on H, they go to
they
I, yeah. But we can also make them go to G by standing on this side which is pretty much in line with the right side of the bridge.
Mhm.
If we ever wanted to go to B instead.
Yeah, I prefer them going to B because, as I said earlier, there's a tendency of eggs to accumulate closer to where A is. So
Oh yeah,
it
once
might be
again,
further.
the right side cannot happen twice in a row, so that's why this side gets more cluttered.
Yeah.
Also, if it spawns at F, we can stand at the start of the bridge to make it go to G instead. Instead of making it go to... Actually, no, making it go to E is also fine. But there's also a chance of it going to C. Though C is not that bad, we may want it to just be at B instead.
The problem with C is that eggs that far can trigger steelheads coming from behind and making us lose time to lure the steelheads closest to basket in case there's a steelhead back there.
Yeah, also there tends to be less eggs over here. And we don't really want people splitting up for egg retrieval. We want firepower to be in the same general area so that it's easier to get stuff done. So making it jump to B is preferred than C, or even D, but I don't really see it happening at D. I guess it doesn't really matter at J because it goes to A either way. Yeah, that's all for Drizzlers on low tide. Which night wave shall we move on to?
I guess the boring one, normal tide rush.
By the way, Rush is like not even hit the 60s.
Yet.
I think it'll hit the 60s on the next one.
Didn't hit 60s because everyone just submerged on that wave.
Yeah. But I think on the first day we can try to get something decent from it. For
Yeah,
Rush
we can give
standards.
it a try.
Like, use our specials and such, just to try and get something. Because if we're getting Rush, the score is not gonna be that good anyway, right?
Might as well try it for a single wave record, if possible. Or personal best, that is. But yeah, the problem with normal tide rush is that I think G Charger, G Slosher, and even G Blaster, because G Blaster gets out of things so quickly, are not as good as weapons like Blob Lover, for example, for normal tide rush in this map.
Yeah, blah 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 is pretty supreme on this stage for Rush.
Yeah, but we can use Inkjet to spawn camp. When the Inkjet user is not aggroed, we can use Race and probably Bomb Rush to spawn camp just to make sure not to kill the goalies too early.
So,
And
yeah.
mhm. And just pray we don't get all chargers or all disclosures because spawn camping with those weapons is gonna be very hard in normal tide rush.
So a plan I came up with for callouts, because it's hard to see spawns on this stage because of just the height. So I usually stand around here, at least the aggro player does. So based on the visibility from here, we can determine... Like from here, we can see spawns that are coming from here. As well as some from maybe here, I think. Though maybe this side may be harder. We can use callouts to determine which side they're coming from. Like anyone can use these callouts. So if they're coming from the left, we use this way. And if they're coming from docks, we use booyah. Because from this angle, it's like left, right, this way, booyah.
Yeah, we can try.
And if it's on the right side, it's pretty easy to see, so we don't use callouts for that.
So now that you're talking about positioning while aggroed, something I do on normal tide rush when I'm aggroed and chumps are coming from like the short ramp. I don't like to stay on that ramp because if the goldie dies there, there's a possibility that an egg will clip through and go to the ground below the platform. And it's basically a lost egg. So what I do is if they are coming from the short ramp, I stay closer to basket. Yeah, but a bit more towards the Drizzler spot. Up, 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 up. No, 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 no. Yes, there. I try to stand there because that way I can still lure goldies close to basket and I above the platform where the eggs tend to clip on.
Okay.
It's a bit riskier because you can get chumps from behind and they can kill you, but I think I have seen that it's really helpful preventing eggs from clipping through the platform and basically losing it. But also, I think Bicouli wanted to talk about snatchers and snatcher optimization in Rush.
Oh, let's talk about that for high tide because I doubt we'll use it on normal tide.
Who knows?
Also, Seb posted a link. So let's look at that. Oh yeah, this one. So G-Slosher can do this. And it has the rails to get out of there if it gets aggroed. You can also do this at the docks by the rail as well. I don't think there's really... I mean, I guess you can do it at low tide as well, right by the wall. Though if there's a goldie coming as soon as the timer about to change, you want to be on the wall preemptively, just so that you don't get squished by the goldie.
Okay, so if we get Slosher and Blaster on normal tide rush, would you prefer G-Slosher to be the filtering, at least on this spawn area, rather than Blaster?
I think I'd rather have G-Blaster because G-Blaster will be up closer by the wall. Though actually G-Slosher can be up against the wall too. It doesn't necessarily have to be by the rail. It's just like a tad bit riskier, like maybe 5% riskier than being right by the rail. But I think we can handle that. I think because it's so close to the spawns, it doesn't really matter which one goes to do it. Like, as long as we're using the wall, that's close enough to the spawns so that the cap isn't reached regardless of which weapon we're using. I think...
Now that you're talking about boss cap, I just wanna as a reminder that in fog, especially in normal tide fog, we need to kill the first goldie a bit, at least a bit soonish, because there have been times where we stall the goldie way too long, so we reach boss cap and the fourth goldie never spawns.
Ah, yes. We need to kill at least one of the goldies before the fourth one spawns. Preferably the first one.
Yeah, I mean, in high tide and in low tide, it's not such a great deal because gold is rich basket pretty quickly. But in normal tide, it's something to be mindful of.
Yeah. I have clips of where to use Stingray on Lush. If I can find it. Nope, I don't have it. Okay. I think I can find it on Twitter. I know that Gunji posted it. Oh. Oh. That's useful. Oh, I think maybe this isn't the right word. Oh, wait. There it is.
Look at how much it takes for them to get to basket.
Oh, yeah. Like almost 30 seconds.
Yeah.
So you stand right at the middle of the rail platform and you aim at the middle of that wall at the bottom. Though we don't necessarily need to be at this exact spot, this is just an easy way to know where to shoot.
Yeah, in case you're in that position.
There's another spot as well. Right there.
Like,
Same standing spot, but you shoot at like,
slightly downwards.
yeah, in the middle of the corner. So I think Stingray should be used like this in Wash. At least on the first day when we're not throwing it. And then a weapon can normally filter on the right side because it's close and easy. Because the problem with those directions is by the time we reach it, the timer's pretty much gonna change already. And the cap has already been reached, which is what we don't want. Actually, let's look at how long it takes. So if it's from, like, say here to reach here, 11.6, it takes about like 6 seconds to reach the cap, I think. So let's just average it at 5 seconds, which is about here. So the spawns reach the cap at about this spot. So it's definitely gonna be good to have Ray on this side. Or maybe Inkjet if someone's over here already with it. Or if the spawn is like continuing, we have someone come up to the rail and filter here. Like whatever we think is a good idea to do. If it's from low tide, So they reached the cap about here, which is not bad actually. So we'd have the way kill them. Same story as docks. Actually, let's just take a look at the right side. See how long it takes for them to reach cap. It's about here, right by the whale. But that's not accounting for the variation in spawns. Like maybe we have more spawns here as well. Maybe sometimes they get stuck and they take longer. Who knows? We have to account for that as well. So I think staying by the wall and shooting them is better than being at the whale. Because it's like being at the whale is just about to hit cap if we let that amount reach this part. Actually, I'll just copy these links for later because I need to add them to the tip collection. Anything else for normal tide wash? If not, we can move on to high tide wash.
Yay.
So, snatcher injection. So to understand snatcher injection, we need to read what Bicouli says about the basics. Watch chum spawn every 10 frames, that's every 1/6 of a second. And once 19 chum spawn, the next spawn is a goldie. It's basically just a big line of chums and goldies. And the pattern is the same every time. And you can only have 32 chums or goldies on the field at once. Was it 32? Yeah, 32 entities overall. And no more will spawn. But once the cap is like... Once you haven't hit the cap anymore, if you remove some, then the line will just continue. It's as if you held up the line. So every 10 frames, something will spawn unless you hit the cap of 32. But snatchers do not follow that. Snatchers spawn according to when eggs fall on the field, which is a little over 3 seconds after the egg falls. And for each goldie, it would spawn 3 snatchers because each egg that falls from the goldie has its own snatcher to come pick it up. So we can bypass at least, we can bypass 10 at most. 10 frames. Actually, no, before I get to that, the snatcher actually replaces what comes next in line. So the snatcher can replace chums and goldies. So we'd want to avoid the snatchers taking up the goldies because then a goldie won't spawn. But also, if snatchers also contribute to the entity cap of 32. So we also don't want too many snatchers hanging around. But snatchers can actually bypass the cap. So although there can be 32 entities on the field already, snatchers can still spawn after that. So how it works is snatchers basically take the place of what's next in line when it spawns. And it bypasses the rule that it bypasses at most the 10 frames it would have taken for the next thing to spawn, which is why snatchers actually speed up rush. They speed up the line of rush. So if you have 3 eggs on the field and you let the snatchers spawn, then that's at most skipping 30 frames or half a second worth of the rush process or the rush line. And if you keep doing that throughout the wave, then it can contribute to maybe like 10 seconds plus of skipping chums. Maybe you might skip a couple goldies though. But according to research done by TKG or ME, it's actually worth it to do that. I think he said 5 eggs might be best, though I think we're better off keeping 3 considering we've never done this before intentionally. Now which 3 eggs we should actually, before that, any questions about snatcher injection? On high tide, we actually don't have to worry that much about entity cap because things reach baskets so quickly. But we should still try and kill as much as possible as they spawn.
So basically for the injection is that we should wait a bit for the snatchers to spawn before getting the eggs, right?
Yeah, basically. I think we should have 4 eggs on the field. Not 3. And I think we should keep it for throughout the entire wave, at least until the end, where we just need to pick up all the eggs at the end. Also, I think it matters where we keep the eggs.
Yeah, I was gonna say that because if we keep the eggs on nodes that are and close to basket, we can then have eggs that are in problematic areas and wave. So which ones are the best nodes to let the eggs? Yeah, which spaces are the best to keep the eggs for the wave? That's what I mean.
So because there's a higher chance for the rush to come from this side, I think we should keep some eggs on this side.
Yeah, makes sense.
Maybe 1 here, 1 there, 1 there. Because it's also out of the way of us dealing with stuff here. If we can keep it out of the way as much as possible, it'll be good. Though there's also strategies of keeping the snatchers at the same spawning place as the current spawn, so that you're also killing the snatchers at the same time. Yeah, we can take a look at that vid. I don't think much of us can understand Japanese, so I'll just mute it. Oh, is this supposed to be explaining the snatcher injection?
Yeah.
Will this help if it's in Japanese?
I mean, you can. I don't know how accurate the closed captions could be.
Oh, I never rely on closed captions. Yeah, liquor. But yeah, you can see the line right there. And you can see the snatchers taking up spots in the line. Yeah, they don't abide by the 10 frame rules.
I think it's translating shake at if it's sake. That's why they say liquor.
Yeah, the visual representation should be good.
Yeah, it's basically how it speeds up the goldie spawn process. Basically, what you want to do with snatcher injection is just spawn the goldies faster.
Yeah. There's also the chance of skipping the goldie, but overall, you gain more from it than you lose, depending on the amount of eggs you keep on the field.
Snatcher has priority over champs and goldies to spawn.
So yeah, basically regulate the amount of eggs on the field, don't have too many eggs. Or else you skip too much, and you skip too much goldies.
Goodbye, JX and Clang.
So this is the strategy I was talking about, where you have the snatchers spawn at the same place
Number of
as
parliamentarians. What? Sorry, I'm just reading the subtitle.
Welcome back, Hawken.
I've just been lurking.
So yeah, this is TKJ's research right there. Linked.
Okay, I was gonna ask, so you want us to have 4 eggs on the map for like the whole game, or do you want like egg, but then we kill a goldie and those eggs replace the egg that spawn the snatcher? Like, how do you want to play that?
I think I'll have to look at I want to look at the salmon mode first after I watch this video to see if stuff reaches the cap when it reaches basket.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I think the subtitles are getting worse.
Oh, yeah, the subtitles didn't help much there. Seems like they are leaving the new eggs there, and they are retrieving the eggs from the older area.
Yeah, that's what the map they showed was about. Quite a few eggs getting lost though. I don't think that should be much of a problem with Grizzco weapons. We don't need that much effort to clear stuff.
Yeah.
So the strategy in this video is to basically leave eggs where snatchers will spawn in the current direction so that snatchers will get killed as soon as possible with the current spawn direction.
Yeah, well, to be fair, they keep getting spawns from that same direction.
Oh yeah, I
I think
remember
that's
this.
yeah, I think that's the faster spawn.
So they pick up the eggs from the old direction and... Oh wait, no, it's kinda late now.
I see people still going from the eggs on the short ramp. But yeah, we can give it a try, prioritizing the old eggs over the new ones. Yeah, snatchers need to be killed as soon as possible too, but with the nature of rush, we should be already killing most lessers as soon as possible.
Okay, so I think there's a little bit of space to allow snatchers to spawn actually. Apparently this ramp takes the longest.
Yeah.
So I think this should be enough to allow 4 to 5 snatchers spawn at once.
I mean,
Yep.
If you leave three eggs from the same goldie on the area and you don't retrieve them, the snatchers should spawn almost basically at the same time.
Yeah, all 3 snatchers.
So maybe that's something also to take in mind, that try to keep the eggs from the same goldie.
Yeah. Also, let's just double check the egg areas. So for this side, we need the eggs to be in this area. Is that the same as the video? Yeah, it is. Just double checking. Yep, it is. So the rule is to keep eggs, 4 to 5 eggs, in play when at the location where the spawn is currently happening. And then when the spawn changes, we collect those eggs and then keep eggs at the current spawn direction. So ignore what I said earlier. That was a different plan that might not work. I think something we have to watch out for is getting pincered when the direction changes. It's like we have the aggroed player and a player watching the aggroed player. And then the rush just suddenly, like, we have leftover rush coming from this side. But then we have a rush coming from this side. So we actually talked about this before in our private chat. We want the aggroed player. Wait. Am I remembering this correctly? So I want the player who has aggroed during the previous spawn location to keep firing at that spawn location.
Yeah, the cleanup.
Yeah, they're the cleanup crew. And then the other players make sure that they don't get pincered by... Basically, the new aggroed person will watch their aggroed side so that they don't get pincered. But in the event that there's 2 goldies coming and they aren't really damaged, or it'll take a while for them to die, Splashdown can be used to kill both of them before that happens. And then for spawn direction changes, if they're coming from here, I think Ray would be preferred for the instant filtering.
Yeah, Ray works good for low tide because for the other spawn sites, it's easier to reposition yourself because they are so close to each other. But for low tide, it takes a bit longer for you to reposition yourself to spawn camp the chumps. So Ray is better for faster killing.
And also for Ray, if the Ray player is aggroed, but there are still Charm and Goldies coming from, say, behind them from this direction, you can still Ray after you clear up the previous direction. Because
Yeah.
remember, the Ray takes like, Ray lasts about 7 seconds, each spawn group takes about 10 seconds, so
10 seconds.
you're still getting some good use out of your Ray. Even if it's slightly out of line
Delay.
of that 10 seconds.
Yeah.
So don't be afraid to use the Ray even if it's a little late than you think. Inkjet might be a little more difficult to decide because it's pretty good at redirecting the chums and controlling the rush when you're aggroed as Jet. I think it'll be better used as a safety measure other than being aggressive because our main weapons are already gonna be aggressive for the rush. So let's use Jet to let off pressure off of the other players and let them collect some of the leftover eggs. I think it'll be especially good if the rush is coming from, say, here or here, because the Jet can just easily reach them from basket. I think Bomb Rush should still be used as well to kill early stuff. Like here and here, maybe even here when using long throws. Now something to keep in mind when using Bomb Rush is if you have something like G-Brella, like you may use Bomb Rush to refill ink to continue filtering, but I think it's better. Like if you run out of ink as G-Brella and then use Bomb Rush, I think it's better to use the Bomb Rush fully instead of using the Brella shots. Because the order lets you have more sustainability of shooting. Okay, so let's say the spawns start here and you are filtering as the G-Brella. Like this is just the current situation and you have to filter as the G-Brella. So you use up your ink tank as the G-Brella and the spawns are still happening here. You use Bomb Rush, but instead of as just an ink refill to keep shooting your Brella, you use the bombs instead. And then once the Bomb Rush is over, you still have a full tank for your G-Brella to use. Whereas otherwise, if you used your G-Brella right after activating your Bomb Rush, you would be pretty much out of ink. And your Bomb Rush would almost be over, so you don't have that much time to refill ink as the Brella. So doing that order of things with Bomb Rush should be better, I think, for your sustainability. What do you think of that?
Yeah, it sounds good to me.
I think it also applies to the other weapons as well. Some chums is fine to let through because of the pause between activating Bomb Rush and beginning to throw bombs. But I think in the long run, it's better to do it this way. The thing is, Goldies have 500 HP, right? And each bomb does like 180 damage directly when it's close to it. I think at most the bombs are gonna do 360 damage. That's 2 directs. Maybe 400 damage. $400. Yeah, it's not so much the Goldie dying to the bomb rush, it's more so teammates killing them early because the Goldie is so weak from the bomb rush. Though I think if we're using bomb rush, the other teammates should be aware that the Goldie is weak. So they should keep that in mind and kill the Goldie a little later, or start shooting the Goldie a little later than usual because it has less HP. But when you're inkjetting and shooting the spawn direction, you don't want to be directing the Goldies. Definitely not, I think. Because pretty much the entire radius of the inkjet shot kills Chum too. So you don't need to be shooting directly at the spawns. You just need to be shooting slightly to the side of it, and you still do well with Jet. Okay. And also, if push comes to shove, if we don't have other weapons to filter, we can use G-Slosher to line up the charm and stuff. But just don't
Yeah.
line it up directly straight, or else you'll hit the Goldie directly, which is a
Yeah.
bit too much damage.
Need to aim a bit to the side so you damage the chums. You kill the chums by using indirects, and the goldies don't
Yep.
get that damaged.
And also, I think we should booyah whenever that direction is about to change. I'm thinking about rebinding the booyah button to my L button so that it's easier to hit rather than moving my thumb down to the D-pad.
Yeah, it may also help if we are in voice chat as well.
Yeah.
Just one person in voice chat doing callouts can undo so much help, especially in rush.
And also we should do the callout a couple seconds before it happens so that we have time to prepare.
Yeah.
Oh, it is 500 HP. Okay, good to know. But I think, like, our biggest flaw is supporting the aggro player, so we should have more of a focus on that. Like, make sure the aggro player doesn't get overwhelmed, or make sure the Goldie dies before it reaches the aggro player. Just support them more.
Yeah, a lot of times we ignore the goldie, just trusting that the aggro player will kill it by themselves, and sometimes it doesn't happen, and it snowballs the entire way because once you get aggro and you're not prepared to be aggro, it can be really bad. So I like I like Marty's and Samit's description on Rush, which is basically protect the aggro player. Play it as if you were protecting the aggro player.
We basically
So-
just need one player protecting them with these weapons.
Yeah,
And we can have, like, while egg running, another player can come in and shoot whatever's coming at them, like the Goldie and such. As some cover fire. Okay, something I want to mention that I think we all know about Rush right now is the Rush bagging.
Well, the latest trend on Salmon Run community. I saw people were accusing you of hacking.
Oh yeah, there was one comment on Reddit that said, it's hacked. Wait, is it? No, I have to say this, don't I? Oh yeah, also we found out, Marty and I found out that rush bagging on the grates is slightly easier than normal. You can also move around when you're on the grates, though I don't think it'll be applicable for the golden rotation. And also you can see this, like, you can just go through lines of charm pretty easily. Oh. Also look at that. You just don't touch the Goldie. The Goldie's pretty dangerous. It's too fat. Yeah, it's easier on green ink, or not in any ink at all, which is why you don't see me paint the ground in any of these clips. Actually, Mew Mew posted a practical demonstration.
Oh, I saw it, and he used it to get an egg outside of the house in Los Talpos, right?
Yeah. It's basically just this clip, but pretend there's an egg over here. I got the egg, and now I return back the basket. That's basically it. And also, there's like a technique you can do. Which is like... You see how I'm in the middle of like 4 charm?
Yeah.
You basically want to be in that position so that they push each other. And you don't get hit by any of them. It works whether you're aggroed or not, as you can see here. You can see Marty is also in the same position with 4 charm.
The Goldie is getting closer.
Yeah. You want to avoid that. I think it's possible to still move around between the charm, as long as you don't directly touch the charm. The bottom of the charm, I mean. And also, you don't need to spam it as quickly as possible, you just don't need to enter human form. Though, you probably still want to spam it just in case.
Also, yeah, Bicouli, our reviews usually take longer than we expect, so you're free to leave if you need to go.
Okay, so that was Rush, I think. So let's move on to Grillers. No, I'm tired. So I think we should be able to kill Grillers early if we get a decent comp. Earlier than usual, I mean.
No, we can kill them on the walls.
Yeah, like...
I mean,
oh no.
yeah.
Like here,
Yes.
And maybe even here, and then we let the weaker weapons get the squiller eggs. I don't think we'll have enough time to react to kill the griller here on low tide because it's just away from everything else.
Yeah. It's the same principle with other rotations with Grizzco Slosher. You only slosh twice to stun a griller, and then let the other weapons kill it, and you prepare for the other griller. This is mostly for high tide, but can also be applied to normal tide if you only want to stun the griller and not necessarily kill it, so other weapons can kill it for you.
Yeah. Unless the grillers are very spaced apart and you have enough time to recover ink after using 3 or 4 shots. Or the
Yeah,
grillers are like right next to each other and you can just use all of your shots to stun both of them.
Yeah, and talking about grillers being each other, let's try to remember to bring them to basket during the last seconds.
Yeah.
Because it's not worth it to kill them early anymore if we don't have time to egg. The griller is faster. It's faster to let the 5 eggs come to basket than you killing the griller earlier, because you don't need to worry about the next griller spawning anymore. So just let them come to basket.
Yep. Also, remember, oh yeah, we can booyah if we decide to lure the grill closer to let the others know that we need to bring it to basket.
Yeah.
Also, if it's coming from middle docks, remember to not confuse it by doing this.
Yeah. It also happens if it spawns from middle docks and you're positioned closer to low tide, I guess. It can get lured to low tide. I have seen it happen once. No, not there in basket. Yeah.
Like this, just don't be on the low tide ramp.
Yeah, because the griller sometimes spawns where the fly fish usually is on dock side. I mean, closer to the left than in that dock area. And it's easier to lure the griller to go to low tide if you're like that, and then these things happen and it can be a mess.
Also, remember to do the turn skip here at the front. It doesn't show it on here, but you just need to stand on this ramp and the griller will skip this turn. It'll go straight and then turn. After it reaches this corner, you can just go back up the wall and then shoot it as it's coming up.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's normal tide. See you, Bicouli.
Bye bye, Bicouli.
Let's move on to high tide. And I think the procedure is mostly the same as before.
Yeah. I think I have the maps on the you made for the golden Polaris grillers from last time. Still, let me see. Oh, never mind. It's the same map we've been using.
Ah, the
Let me
Minowai
show
map.
you. Yeah. This one that we should try to kill the griller that's coming from the short ramp in that red area instead of the one that's closer to this one. We should try to stun the griller closer to the area in the top rather than below. I don't know if you remember that.
Okay, what was it?
uh, the first image is the desirable place for the griller to be stunned when they are coming from the short ramp. Initially, like 2 years ago, we were discussing it, of killing them in the area that's just below, I mean, in the picture below the top one. So let me make it clear. Good griller stun place. Bad griller stun place.
Okay,
There we
so
go.
when they're coming from short ramp, don't kill them too early.
Yeah, because if they keep coming from short ram, it's the egging is gonna be harder if the eggs land on that bad stun place.
Unless it's the first spawn, right?
Yeah, unless if it's the first spawn is usually kill it as fast as you can, but
Okay.
after that it can become problematic to gather the eggs, and it can also be too far away for the weapons that are egging on the bad stun place to get ready for the grillers if they decide to come from low tide.
Yeah. And also remember when the griller is coming this way, it has this slight turn right here, which tends to
Yeah,
mess us up sometimes. So be aware that when the griller is pretty much in line, the middle of the griller is in line with the end of the middle ring. It's gonna slightly stop and turn. So the tail will be around here, and you can shoot it like that.
yeah,
So it won't just come straight, it'll stop right here for like a second. So remember that if you're a G-Charger and stuff. And also remember to weigh, even if we have G-Slosher, weigh this side when they're coming from this side. Remember to not stun them here either if you're weighing or G-Sloshing. If there are like two grillers back to back, you don't want to slosh straight down. Actually, you can let the grillers come like this closer and then stun them right here. Or you can slosh like diagonally from the griller so that you stun one, but the other one is still coming up behind it. If you slosh straight, it would hit both and both would get stunned. And this one would get
yeah.
stunned here. You don't want that. That's too early. And also a plan I had, I don't know if we discussed this before, but after this direction is over, and if grillers come from either low tide or from the long ramp, the aggro player actually lures them to this side every time, so that players from here can aim easily at the tail when it turns this way.
Yeah, makes sense.
Or otherwise we would have to go around basket and then aim at the griller when it's turning here, which is kinda less efficient. So after the short ramp, if it spawns at one of the other locations, always turn it this way. And then from there, actually, should we not kill them in this corner?
I mean, if we have a G-Slosher, we can let them come a bit closer to basket if we are egging from the short ramp.
Okay.
G-Slosher is basically a mini stingray. So as long as your timing is good, you should be able to egg while still stunning the next griller.
Alright. And if we happen to have, like, eggs over here that are more on this side, we have the griller come this way instead. So that players over here can collect eggs and shoot the tail while it's turning. Just alternating sides depending on where the eggs are. Though most likely, the eggs will just be here at the middle and we just have to keep killing the grillers.
Yeah.
Which weapon should filter? I think it should be G-Brella, because G-Blaster has more DPS, and G-Brella still does a good job at killing the small fry with its wide reticle.
Yeah, I mean, this blaster can still kill the small fries pretty well with indirects, but if we have Umbrella, it might as well be the one that does the cleanup.
Yeah. And also G-Blaster can still kill freshly spawning small fries if it aims low enough on the tail.
Mm-hmm.
And also the filters should be closer to the griller. We don't need the G-Charger and G-Slosher right up against the griller either. So they should take a step back.
Yeah, because the filterings are gonna be basically small fry magnets. As long as they are close enough to the griller, the small fry should leave vulnerable weapons like Slosher and Chargers alone.
And also, if we have a G-Slosher and a griller is coming from here, and there's just a bunch of eggs piled up here, we do not need a G-Charger to go and try and stun the griller. We just let the G-Slosher handle it, and we have the G-Charger run eggs until it's stunned, then it can attack the griller. Because at that point, we need as many people running eggs as possible. And we don't need someone else to stun the griller at that point. We just have the G-Slosher do it.
Yeah, just remember 2 sloshes.
Yep.
So you have ink in case anything happens.
At least one direct slosh as well.
Mm.
So the slosher can actually slosh once ahead of time early, and then slosh when it really needs to stun it. Instead of just dumping both sloshes when it needs to at the critical moment of stunning. Either way works, just what is preferable for the person. And also using something like Splashdown to stun it, even if we have a G-Slosher there, we don't really need to do that either. Just collect the eggs if there's a big pile. And the G-Slosher can handle the griller. Just trust in the G-Slosher. You can use your Splashdown after it's stunned. Like, you wanna use Splashdown as soon as possible when it's stunned, so that you don't lose out on the maximum amount of damage the Splashdown does. Like, if you do Splashdown when the griller's at like 100 HP, that's just not worth it. So try and time your Splashdown as soon as the griller gets stunned. Do we need Inkjet? If we have stuff like G-Blaster and a G-Brawler.
I mean, I think Inkjet should only be used when the comp is not that good.
Yeah.
Maybe a small fry control if we have like 4 chargers.
Yeah, definitely. And also keep in mind, like, even if we have high DPS, if the small fries aren't under control, it doesn't matter. Still, you should use something like Bomb Rush or something to clear
Yeah.
the small fries. But if we do have good small fry control and good DPS at the same time, we should be using Bomb Rush to refill ink on and get faster kills.
Yeah.
Like if
I
G
mean,
Slosher has Bomb Rush, but it still has good pacing with the Guerrillas, it doesn't need to recover ink that fast. Using Bomb Rush will enable it to use all 4 sloshes and get the Guerrilla killed faster. And still have
yeah.
ink for the next Guerrilla.
Yeah, I mean, I picture Inkjet being used by Brella for DPS only because Brella is so weak that I think it's the only instance Jet is better for killing the Griller in the Grizzco rotation.
Yeah. Actually, I'm conflicted now. Should we even use Ray if we have G Slosher? And G Slosher doesn't have much stress on it.
Hmm.
The Ray has less DPS than the Brella.
I mean, we can use Ray in case we see new grillers coming and seeing the slosher not prepared.
Yeah,
Or
that
in
sounds
case,
good.
or if the slosher suddenly dies or something.
Yeah, it'll
Because,
be back up.
yeah, that's are gonna happen. So we should have backups regardless if the weapons are good or not.
Yeah. Yeah, if we have good control, then we don't need to use Ray. Just keep your DPS up. Okay. I think that's it for high tide Guerrillas. Oh, actually, when to use splashdown on the Guerrillas. Like I said when, but I think there are also other moments it can be used, like when there are 2 Guerrillas close to each other and they
Yeah,
both get stunned.
yeah, you get maximum DPS when the splashdown or 2 grillers are exposed to the damage.
Yeah, so that'll work out fine. And remember, like, you can actually splash down over Guerrillas after you jump high. You don't need to, like, go around it. You just need to splash down in front of it, and you basically get a free stun.
Yeah, as long as the griller doesn't get stalled, so
Yeah.
because that has happened.
Wait, do I have something? No. You can actually splash down on the side of the Gwiller as well because the side of its body is lower than the top. But it's all about your timing. So I think that's it about Grillers. Oh wait, about the filters. Remember that small fry trail the Griller, so make sure you clear those as well after the Griller dies.
Yeah, I mean those are more. You can see the thrill more on normal tide griller than in high tide, but yes, it happened.
Yeah. Also, toward the end, when we're collecting the final eggs, make sure the filter weapons are the ones killing the small fries, not the G Slosher or the G Charger. because sometimes at the end it's like we have a couple eggs remaining because the small fry weren't killed,
Yeah.
and the heavy weapons don't want to deal with it.
Yeah, I mean, you can filter small fry and still collecting eggs with both blaster and umbrella. With blaster, you just aim at your feet while moving, and you can still gather the eggs. And with umbrella, has huge mobility while still firing, so no excuses.
Yeah, Ray wasn't used in either 100 games, so that's reassuring. Okay, so we have Seeking next.
Bicouli said that we should do a refresher on the waypoint seeking strategy.
Yeah, we're gonna do that once we get to high tide. So normal tide, is there really anything different? Actually, there is. There is natural optimization on normal tide in 2 areas that we can do. Like if the egg,
Yeah, the snatcher can bring it a bit closer.
yeah, we can start damaging the Goldie once it's at this point, and then up until this ramp, and maybe more over here on this ramp, we can let snatchers move the eggs to this corner here, in line with the paintable wall and basket. Like even, nah, this isn't really worth it, this area. We should just focus these eggs and let these eggs come up. And also there's this area. Just this small area right here. Where we can let a couple eggs come close to basket. Though I can see that not really happening that much. Because this area is already kind of close to basket. So it's pretty much the same opening procedure. Open this side, open that side. Determine where it is from there. If we have a bad comp, let's use specials like Splashdown to speed up the damage. Also, remember to use Splashdowns at when the Goldie is big, so that the eggs don't get skipped when the Goldie is small from over damage.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anything else for normal tide? Oh yeah, so we all want to be attacking the Goldie. We shouldn't just... Like, one player shouldn't just decide to leave the Goldie because they think it'll be killed, because that sometimes doesn't happen. Like, oh,
Yeah.
we have these powerful weapons shooting the Goldie, it should die by then. But then it escapes. So just,
Yeah.
yeah, focus the Goldie. That's all for normal tide, I think. It's pretty simple. So for high tide, the opening order is different on wave 1. On wave 1, okay, let me get... No, it cannot be in this gusher, right? Why was it this gusher? I should check the document.
Um. The Gusher D, yeah, it's the same one. In the first attempt, the position of D is always fail. Let me copy this picture.
Oh, but which one is D?
Let me get the map.
Okay. So this gusher is impossible to have the Goldie on wave 1 as the first seek.
Mm-hmm.
So instead we move to this gusher. Because that gusher is also connected to basket. And so it gives us information. As you can see here, it is connected just like this one.
Yeah. You used E gusher to get information about the A gusher.
If it's
And the
high,
first-
it's an A. If it's low, it's an D.
Only in the first approach, I mean the first seek.
And then the second seek is just normal business, open B,
Open
and then we go from
or
there.
yeah.
But then the third one is also different. The third seek, it cannot.
It's
Yeah,
it's different only if the Goldie was on B and the gusher B, I think.
yeah. So the third attempt, the third seek, the Goldie cannot be in the same position as it was in the second seek. So if it was in B on the second seek, it will not be in B on the third seek. And so we have to change our opening strategy from there. We would open E in that instance, just like in the first seek, because it cannot be in B. But if it's not in, for example, A, then that's going to be problematic because we basically have no information to get. Actually, no, we can't do that. I was gonna say we can open A together if it's in B or E, but that's kind of counterproductive because we can just open either B or E separately. I think from that point, which should we do first and second? If we open B and then D, and if it's not in either of them, then the lessers will just come from this side.
Yeah, I think it's best to just keep the lessers in one side instead of two for seeking.
Yeah, that sounds good. And then we can use a special like splashdown to clear the lessers once the Goldie comes near them. Because lately I've been wanting to use specials to clear lessers instead of just finishing off the Goldie.
Yeah.
Because if we have weaker weapons, we should adjust and start shooting the Goldie earlier instead. And then with higher
Yeah.
DPS, we just do it normally by basket.
I mean, yes. I guess Disclosure can be considered a weak weapon only for the Goldie, but it's really good against lessers. So I think Seeking is very dependent on the weapon set you get, because you want mostly blasters and chargers. And if you get G-Slosher and Gibrellas, you will probably be using all your specials.
Yeah.
But I don't think specials are that needed if you have like chargers and blasters, and the Goldie dies always mid basket.
Yep. I just use specials to clear lessers instantly, just so we can start opening faster and stuff.
Yeah, and as always, the charger should be the one opening. At least B and D. The basket that's unlike on the back can be opened by any weapon since it's closer to basket.
Yep. And also, you might get snatchers on top of this gusher,
Yeah.
which is gonna be a problem, so let's kill them before they reach that gusher. Like, there's gonna be a huge line of them. Let's make sure they just don't reach the gusher, and kill them early, like maybe around here, or even sooner.
Yeah.
Or if, for whatever reason they do get on top of the gusher, we let them grab the egg and then kill them when they leave the gusher with the egg.
Yeah, they always jump over the wall that you can't paint, so you can use that as a marker to where to shoot them.
Yep, just right after they leave the gusher.
Mm-hmm.
For both methods, you can just hold down left click and then the snatchers will walk into your fire, walk into your shots. Okay, so remember the seeking strategy. First attempt, open the short ramp gusher. Second attempt, normal. Third attempt cannot be the same as the second attempt, Goldie gusher. Okay, so that's seeking, I think. Oh, also, how you wanna be positioned when you're attacking the Goldie? You want to be in front of the Goldie as much as possible if you're a short range weapon, or even G-Slosher because the Sloshers take time to reach the Goldie. That's because you don't want the Goldie to leave your fire range when it speeds up during the size changes. So if, for example, you're a G-Blaster, and you decide to go behind the Goldie to get an egg that dropped from it, you then have to spend your time catching up to the Goldie by swimming in front of it, which is time
Yeah,
not shooting the Goldie.
I think it's best to leave those first eggs to the charger, or maybe the Slosher too. Just
Yeah.
focus on killing the Goldie.
The Slosher would have to refill ink so it can get these eggs, and then by the time it swims back, it has enough ink to shoot at the Goldie again. Same for G-Charger, but G-Charger has a good distance to shoot while gathering the eggs. Like, you can get the egg and still shoot the Goldie from far away. So this mostly applies to G-Blaster and G-Brilla. You wanna be in front of the Goldie as much as possible when shooting it, so that you don't spend time swimming and catching up to it, which is time not shooting the Goldie. How much damage does she charge? It does 200 damage. So I'm trying to think. Like, is there any worry of skipping eggs when the Goldie is small or medium? There is a slight chance, like maybe 5% chance that the G-Slosher can skip an egg when the Goldie is small, because each segment of the small Goldie is 333 damage. The G-Slosher does 360 damage. Wait, actually, would it skip? Yes, it can, if... I'm not going to explain it now, but I don't think we should have to worry about the G-Slosher skipping any eggs because the chance of that happening is just that low. But it's more like Splashdown skipping an egg that's more worrying. I don't think we have to worry about Splashdown on medium-sized Goldie. Medium size takes 400 damage per egg. Splashdown does 700. G-Charger does 200, that's 900. We should try to Splashdown when the Goldie is big if we plan to do that. Anyway.
Yeah.
Okay, so if we damage the Goldie early with weak weapons, then we now have this problem. Eggs right next to this
Yeah.
gusher.
Those snatchers get away super quickly. So those are the first eggs you wanna gather once you're free.
Yeah, and the host can get the basket eggs. And the G charger will do its thing, or whatever weapon has the better opportunity to open the gushers if we don't have G chargers. So one player should rush back and get these snatchers. If the snatchers are on the gusher, just let them walk a little bit past and then get the eggs over here. Kill the snatcher when it's past the gusher, even if it's a little farther towards shore. Like, you don't really want to open the gusher, or else that'll just slow things down even more. Just make sure the snatcher doesn't get away. And also remember that eggs here, the snatcher on this ramp will take it towards this way. Yeah, basically, on any of these ramps, the snatcher will take it to a direction where you might not expect. It'll take it the shorter way, so just keep that in mind. Also on high tide, this shortcut does not work. I mean, this optimization does not work.
Yeah.
So that's the difference between normal tide and high tide. Is that it for high tide seeking?
I think it is. Just as a reminder that the new strat of opening the gusher behind basket, the e-gusher, only applies to wave 1. Wave 2 and wave 3 are the strat used is the regular one.
Yeah, just a reminder, the normal one is opening B first. If B is low, open D. If D is low, it has to be an E. Same principle, we want the lessers to be just from this side. If these two are low. And then same stuff. Was there any other waves? Oh, Mothership. Of course I forget about Mothership. So normal tide. Now there's something different I want to do that I think will boost the score a bit. And that's for one player or 1 to 2 players with decent range to stay back. Actually, maybe not G Blaster. G Blaster has slightly better range, I think. To stay back at basket and deal with the coolers that land at basket, while other weapons get the farther eggs that are maybe more like out here or down here.
Do you want that to be done like during the entire wave or just like in the beginning?
The entire wave, at least toward the end. The end is when we want everyone at basket.
Alright.
Or actually, once there are enough eggs piled up on this side, this player will then decide to get the eggs here, along with this player. So once the eggs are almost all cleared on this side, this player will go back to getting 4 eggs. And this player will want eggs on this side and get the coolers here.
So you want For example, Drizzlers only go for far eggs when eggs are not piling up on the left.
Yeah.
Alright.
Also, when the caviar drops, there's sometimes the problem of 2 people getting the caviar when there's enough time for just the host to get it. And then there's another egg on the side somewhere that they could have gotten. I think we should just let the host deal with the caviar, unless otherwise they say this way. When the caviar is dropping.
There's sometimes a confusion with using this way, because this way sometimes mean the caviar will drop here, and sometimes it means I need help with egging. So it's hard to tell some.
Well, let's not use it for the caviar is here, because the host should be already looking out for the caviar.
Alright.
So that this way would be used more so for eggs over here, let's go get them, which are more so for far eggs that maybe someone else didn't see. And the host and one other player can want the basket eggs.
That sounds good.
Okay, like, I'll try to coordinate this stuff in VC if I can VC on the days. Like, oh, this player, go for 4, I'll watch the basket eggs. That sort of stuff. Like, not just me, anyone can do that. If they can VC. I think just having, like, 3 players go for eggs over here is a little bit too much. Like, there's not enough supply for 3 players there to make it the most efficient way possible. So that's why we have 1 player go far out and let 1 or 2 players handle this side. And then maybe, like, the same can be said for, maybe not the same, but sometimes there's just no eggs here and here or in this area for this guy to get any. So this guy can also go down here to get an egg or 2. But that would also mean this guy over here would have to keep watch of at least this spot as well.
Talking about that side, the right side, there's a Chinook that fly over the grates area that if you kill it when it's in a certain position, the egg will fall under on the grates area. But if you wait too much, it will fall on all the way down. So
Like
it's
here?
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's something to watch out for.
Yeah, it can be a good idea to watch for that Chinook and try to kill it in a timely manner so you don't have to go all the way down.
Also, if there's a cooler here and a cooler here, I think the far player should prioritize this egg first, the farthest egg first, and then go for this egg afterwards.
Yeah, because of the snatcher.
Yeah, as well as, yeah, just the snatcher pretty much. And then next time, as it's coming down, if there's another cooler that spawns like around here, it can kill that and then go for that one instead. And then this egg will just be here in play for like the next time whenever that comes. You basically always want there to be eggs to collect so that you're not just waiting around for the next cooler.
Yeah, you always, in Mothership, you always want to have something to do. If you're not doing anything, you're losing time.
And that's pretty much the backbone of this new strategy, is to have just someone going for far eggs where there'll always be eggs at. Or coolers at spawning, I mean, because I think the Mothership has a bias to spawn coolers more often closer to it. So we're gonna make use of that, and then this player just makes sure there's eggs here all the time. And then, yeah, that's basically it for that strategy. Let's see. Typically, when we weigh on normal type mothership, there's eggs down here. I think the player should go after those eggs first once the mothership is repelled.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's gonna be a line of eggs here and here. The players then move on to getting those eggs. And then there's eggs on basket. The host gets the caviar as usual. Maybe another egg beside the caviar as well as it's falling. Anyway, as long as the mothership is repelled at around 8 seconds, the host should have enough time to get all of the caviar.
Oh yeah, talking about the 8 seconds thing. How long do you want the first approach mothership to latch on basket? It starts stealing eggs after 3 seconds.
We can have it. Actually, as long as the eggs land on this platform, I think whenever that is fine. We can let the mothership take 1 egg if it means more eggs at basket. Just don't let it take 2 eggs.
Alright, so around 4 seconds then.
Yeah.
Alright.
I think that's it for normal tide mothership. So let's move on to high tide. Now you want the charger or the longest range weapon to be back here. And then you want the slower weapons to be like in these areas.
Yeah. I think the slowest weapon or the laggiest weapon, in this case Drizzler, should be on the left side, because you want to prevent that weapon from ever firing.
By the left side, do you mean this side?
Oh yeah, I mean the short ramp side. Yeah, my bad. I guess I get confused with how the map looks and how it is presented on actual gameplay, but
Left side when facing mothership.
yeah, I mean the short ramp side should be the one that has the laggiest weapon. I mean, G slasher in this rotation, because it's the position where the least amount of lasers will appear and the closest to the basket. And since you don't want G-Slosher to ever fire a slush, because it just wastes time because it's so laggy, you only want that G-Slosher to run X and throw bombs, run X and throw bombs.
So it looks more like something like this.
Yeah.
You want the faster weapon on this side to shoot the coolers for the G-Slosher to run eggs, and then the G-Slosher throws bombs at the distant coolers over here.
Mm-hmm.
And then the G-Charger handles the majority of this side, but also the coolers that go across basket over the top, like this. As well as over here, this area. Same story with the G-Slosher, it doesn't shoot. The G-Charger does all the work. And if a G-Charger manages to miss a cooler over here, it can just throw a bomb right there. To cover for the G-Charger not shooting it. For the first approach... I think it's the same story as Normatide Mothership. Where we don't want too many eggs landing down here though. We want only a couple landing down here. And we let the mothership take 1 egg, but we don't let it take 2.
Mm-hmm.
We basically want the stingray to last right up until before it takes the second egg, and then we repel it then. So that we're making the most out of stingraying at basket.
I think that depends on how many free nodes are around basket.
We can check that. Like there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There should be enough for that much. Like each cooler spawns like how often? 1.5 seconds, I think. The way lasts 7 seconds, I think. So at most we need like 5 nodes, I think. Which would be here, 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 and here. Which I think are the closest.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it should be fine for that duration.
Alright.
The second way, just repel it at 8 seconds. And way so that your way ends at 8 seconds.
Yeah, the second ray. The second approach the mothership should be gone by the 8-second mark.
Yeah.
But you should also time your raid so you make the most out of it.
Which is about 15, 14 seconds counter.
Mm-hmm.
Also, same story, let the host get the caviar. Actually, should we... If there's a lot of eggs on either side already there, should we repel the mothership a couple seconds early?
I don't know.
Hmm.
I think it's still repelling it by the 8-second mark is the best, because after that point you won't be doing anything but egging, so 8 seconds should be enough.
Okay, that makes sense. 8 seconds it is.
Also,
yep.
yes, sorry. We are focusing way too much on the charger. What if we don't get charger? What do we do?
Oh. In that case, we just have
I'll say
G-Brella take its position, or G-Blaster. And we just... well, we're just unlucky at that point.
Well, I'd say that's how we usually are. That's what I'm asking.
So yeah, just basically the same thing as this side. Try and kill as much coolers as possible to let the G-Slasher collect, and you collect eggs yourself. And also, I don't think G-Brella will be able to just run back and forth to get coolers here and there, so it should instead throw bombs there, as well as the G-Slasher if it sees that. Though
So you should focus more on the short ramp side rather than on the top side if we get Brella instead of Charger.
Yeah, though I think this cooler is more manageable right here. So maybe it can go back and forth here. Like this. And then throw bombs whenever applicable. There was something I wanted to show. So much natural stuff. Okay. Nope. Okay, here it
Twitter,
is. Oh, what is that quality?
Twitter quality.
That's better. So, if you pick up the eggs in the order that they're dropped in on Mothership, you basically don't have to worry about shooting the snatchers, and they just walk away. Like as you see here. They're just walking away before they reach the eggs, and they don't end up getting in the way. So you don't have to spend time shooting or throwing a bomb at them.
You can maybe throw a bomb in case they paint your way.
Yeah. This should also apply on the other side of the stage as well. So I think that's all for Mothership. Oh, also on normal tide, we can use, if we don't have enough rays, we can use the whales. We can get on top of the
Yeah.
whales.
Yeah, to cheese.
So basically how we do that is we get on this wheel, jump, get on this wheel, and then stay on this wheel jumping, and then shooting the mothership. The coolers, I mean, on top of the mothership. And also I think for mothership, the Stingray, we should learn to use Stingray from any area possible, so that we're not just limited to waiting at basket with the Stingray. Like we can
Yeah.
be in the process of collecting an egg, and then we just pop Stingray right then and there to wait the
Yeah,
mothership.
we just need to make sure that there are no lurchers coming from behind.
Yeah,
'Cause
that's the only problem.
That happens often on the long ramp.
Yeah, just keep out for that. Also, remember to this way or booyah when the mothership is approaching to tell the team if you have Stingray or not. Like, we also usually want to use Stingray on the second approach if we only have one Stingray. So, first approach, no Stingray, use this way when the mothership is approaching, or when the Grizzco message appears. Usual stuff.
Yeah, booyah means I'll use Ray, and this way means I won't use Ray.
Yeah, because this way is like a sense of urgency. Booyah is like, yeah, we got this, booyah.
We got this, team.
Okay, that's all for mothership, I think. Is there any way I'm forgetting? We did cannons already. Fog.
We did fog,
Yeah.
cannons, mothership, low tide mothership.
Oh yeah, low tide mothership. Yeah, low tide mothership is kind of different. So you want the longest range weapon on the left, shooting coolers in the sky, so that the eggs land on the whale right here. And we can have like something like umbrella on the right side, killing coolers early in the air. So eggs land over here as well. Just like this. And then in the middle, we can have just a weapon going and dealing with the middle eggs. For something like G-Slasher or just a fourth player, we can have them flex the middle eggs,
Yeah.
or
I think it's important to have like a middle weapon flexing because especially during when you repel the approaches, a lot of lessers start coming up to basket because they're gonna be coming from the water. Especially the left area is gonna be invaded. So you want the flex weapon to at least be killing the lesser, so it's cleaner once the one of the approaches is repelled.
also, I think the fourth player can also get stuff from here as well. That lands over here. And instead, the G-Charger or the other weapon can get some coolers that are like over here.
Yeah.
Because they can still reach the coolers in the air here, so that's not a problem. What's more of a problem is it getting its own eggs. That also doesn't interfere with the fourth player getting eggs that are while also flexing the middle. So this player can just go like this, collect egg, shoot air, get another egg, shoot air, collect egg, movement like that, using the most of its range as possible while collecting eggs. This player over here probably will have enough of a time getting these eggs, but just in case, the fourth player can also go here if needed, just to regulate the egg count. Does that sound good?
Yeah.
Anything else? Oh yeah, same as normal tide, if we don't have rails, we can just use the rails. I think... Which rail is the best to use, actually?
The closest rail is the one that is to the left.
This one, right? Or is it this one?
No, this one, because you're gonna have a person getting the coolers from that left area. So they should be close to that rail.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Oh, something I just remembered. Even when someone is weighing the mothership, like, they just start weighing the mothership, we should still look out for the coolers that are still landing right before the weigh began. So, like, because the mothership is closer, the coolers are more likely to land closer to basket, so we should watch out for those coolers while the weigh is happening. And then a few seconds afterward, we don't have to worry because all the coolers that would have come down are being killed by the weigh. So as soon as the weigh starts, don't just go to basket and wait for the mothership to shoot it. Look out for the closer coolers that spawn. And then maybe you can get those eggs and then come back and shoot the mothership. Because sometimes I see everyone going to shoot the mothership and there's just a close cooler nearby that just landed from right before the weigh began. So just watch out for those coolers. Is that all for low tide mothership? Or just anything in general because that's the last wave? I think that's all then.
Yeah, I cannot think of anything else right now.
Oh
But
wait,
we should...
shooting
go.
Mars.
Yeah.
If we have 2 G charges, we can just shoot the Mars basically.
Yeah, but let's try to shoot the moss in the direction where lessers are coming, so we can make a most of our ink tanks.
Yeah. Just line up stuff as much as possible. Let's see. Also on low tide day, prioritize the eggs that are at the middle, because those are the harder eggs to get. Because they're not easily accessible by the whale. We have to either take the long way on the bridge, or take a whale on either side, which we still have to travel a bit to. Also, scrappers, be careful of bombing places where you don't know if there's a scrapper or not. Sometimes I see bombs getting thrown when there's a scrapper there, and it's like,
Yeah.
we don't need to do that. Also, remember to shoot as many Drizzler torpedoes as you can, because that helps the entire team a lot. I can't think of anything else. On cannons, don't be afraid to use specials like Stingray or Inkjet to kill Firefly fish if they get out of hand, because you don't want the cannon getting harassed by missiles or stingrays.
Yeah.
Like, we've always been about centering strategies around the cannon doing everything, but we should not do that. We should try to cover for each other as much as possible. And also remember, you can use Inkjet to lure steelheads on basket on low tide. Like, if you see there's a steelhead at the corners or middle, and you hear the inkjet activate, immediately back up, because you basically know what's gonna happen next. And also, the inkjet users should use inkjet a little earlier than usual, just so that the steelheads don't trigger while you're trying to get on basket.
Yeah. People can also use inkjet and immediately say this way, so people can go and look that the inkjet is being used at basket, and they know that a steelhead lure is being at them.
Yep. And also, you can disway while on the rail as well. If the disway is high in the air, you know that the steelhead is being lured one way or another, and you should back up. Also, the inkjet lasts for 10 seconds in Salmon Run, so don't worry about duration. If the steelhead triggers once, don't kill it. Like, if you're at the start of your inkjet, don't kill the steelhead, let it come closer. Because you still have a lot of flying time left. So by the time you end inkjet, the steelhead will still be at basket, even if it triggers once. So that should be good. Also, just a little trick you can do with inkjet on grillers is that if you hover normally, without boosting or anything, the griller cannot kill you if you're aggroed by it. You can basically just touch the top of it and it won't kill you, because the top lid does not deal any damage. So if for whatever reason you need to, you can hold the griller in place with inkjet. And you can even push grillers with inkjet if you wanted to when they're stunned. Just don't boost or anything, because that'll make you go lower than the top lid and you die. And also don't do it on ramps, because that can get funky.
Yeah.
Just do it on flat ground. Also stingray. If you don't want to be targeted by stingers, make sure you're closer to it than other players. Like this. Like, usually we feel like we need to back up with stingray to kill stuff, but if there's a stinger, then that just nullifies us. And we end up not being able to use the stingray properly because the stinger is shooting at us. So you do want to be kind of closer to them. And also, if there's a stinger and a flyfish, we want to shoot with stingray. But if we happen to be the farthest player, we should shoot the stinger first. So that by the time it fires, it's dead. And then we can shoot the flyfish with relative ease. Because even if it fires, it'll only be 4 missiles on us, unless there's more flyfish, of course. But in this case, let's just say there's 4 missiles. That's easier to dodge than if you had a stingray on you for like a few seconds. And also the missiles take some time to reach you because it's far away from you. Because the farther away a flyfish launches its missiles from you, the longer they take to travel. And also regarding snatcher optimization, other than using stingray or splashdown to perform it, you can actually use inkjet on the sides here. You can shoot the wall when the snatcher is up against it to make the eggs come up here. Same story on this side. And I think you can do the same for the pointers here if you shoot the pointers.
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna be handy to keep this snatcher optimization around.
Yep.
Yes. Sorry about that.
No, I barely heard it. I don't even know what I heard actually.
It's my cat.
Oh, it sounded like a dog. Unless that was a
Must be the
scratching
next,
noise, not a dog bark.
Yeah, she's being a bit noisy because it's way past her feeding time.
Oh,
Because I think this review took a bit longer than expected.
yeah, I was expecting it to take a couple hours. But that just shows how much knowledge we have about the game and how much we can talk about it. So I think mission complete. We have strategized about Polaris.
Yay.
And I think it's time to end the stream there.
Yeah, it's been almost 4 hours.
So everyone say goodbyes on stream.
Goodbye. Bye bye. Thank you everyone for coming,
Yes, farewell, fellow
for
people.
listening. The bot should be available for anyone to see if someone missed on something.
Yes, I'll also upload the VOD as a public video on my YouTube channel.
Wow, Eve, we go to bed. Thank you, Mayo. All right. Thank you, everyone. See you.
Right, see
Have a
ya.
good